Welcome back to the channel USD Coins, coin enthusiasts, collectors, and curious minds alike. If you've ever dreamt about finding a hidden treasure in your spare change or stumbled across a coin that looks a little different from the rest, this video might just change your perspective forever. Today, we're going deep, very deep, into one of the most fascinating, mysterious, and potentially life-changing coins in American numismatic history, the 1968 Liberty Quarter Dollar. You may have heard whispers about a rare quarter worth more than $7 million. Yes, that's $7 million for a 25-cent coin. What makes it so special? Why is it so incredibly valuable? And how could a seemingly common coin end up being one of the rarest and most sought-after collectibles in the world? Let's start with the basics. The 1968 Liberty Quarter, like all U.S. quarters minted after 1965, was made of a copper-nickel-clad composition. Silver had been removed from most circulating coins by this point due to rising silver prices. The 1968 quarter was designed by John Flanagan, bearing the classic image of George Washington on the obverse, the front side, with the word Liberty arched above his head and the motto "In God We Trust" to his left. The reverse side features the familiar heraldic eagle, wings spread, perched on a bundle of arrows with olive branches beneath. The denomination quarter dollar and the name of the country, United States of America, are inscribed prominently. So, how does a 1968 quarter, of which hundreds of millions were minted, go from being pocket change to becoming one of the most valuable coins on Earth? It comes down to errors, striking mistakes and minting anomalies that slipped through quality control and made their way into circulation. These mistakes, especially when extremely rare and dramatic, can make a coin astronomically valuable to collectors. The 1968 Liberty Quarter with a value upwards of $7 million is not just rare, it's practically one of a kind. There are several varieties of the 1968 quarter that have attracted significant interest, but there is one in particular that is surrounded by mystery and speculation. This coin is believed to have been minted using a leftover silver planchet from before 1965, making it what's known as a transitional error. Transitional errors occur when a mint mistakenly uses metal blanks, or planchets, from a previous year or composition. In this case, that would mean a silver planchet was used even though the U.S. Mint had officially stopped using silver in quarters by 1965. Now think about that for a moment. A 1968 quarter that is supposed to be copper-nickel, but is actually struck in silver. That alone would be enough to raise eyebrows and send collectors into a frenzy. But the coin we're discussing doesn't just have one error. It has multiple anomalies, each one compounding the coin's rarity and value. It's not just struck on a silver planchet, it may also exhibit doubling, die cracks, off-center strikes, missing mint marks, and other dramatic flaws. It's the numismatic equivalent of lightning striking the same place 5 times. Let's break down some of these possibilities. First, the missing mint mark. In 1968, the U.S. Mint produced quarters at more than one facility, including Denver and San Francisco. Each mint typically adds a small identifying letter known as a mint mark to indicate where the coin was produced. A coin without a mint mark, especially in a year when one should be present, can be an immediate red flag for something unusual. For example, a 1968 S-proof coin should bear the S mint mark, and a Denver-struck coin should have a D. A 1968 quarter with no mint mark at all could signal a minting oversight or an unusual production method, such as a proof coin struck without a mint mark. Then we have the question of doubling. One of the most sought-after types of error in U.S. coinage is the doubled die. This occurs when the die, the stamp used to imprint the design onto the coin, is engraved improperly, causing elements of the design to appear doubled. In the case of the 1968 quarter, doubled die varieties could be seen in the lettering, particularly in Liberty, Indiana God We Trust, or the date itself. Imagine holding a coin and seeing ghostly echoes of each letter or number. It's like having a coin with a shadow that never moves. That kind of error can take a coin from being worth a few cents to tens of thousands of dollars, even hundreds of thousands if the doubling is dramatic and clear. And then there's the metal composition again. If a 1968 quarter was indeed struck on a silver planchet, that would already make it an extreme anomaly. Most silver planchets were supposed to be phased out after 1964, yet occasionally, blanks intended for coins from earlier years found their way back into the presses. If you weigh a 1968 quarter and find that it tips the scales at 6.25 grams, the weight of a silver quarter, instead of the standard 5.67 grams for the copper-nickel version, you may be holding something extraordinary. Coin scales are relatively inexpensive, and it's one of the easiest ways to test if your coin might be the elusive silver error. Incredibly, there are also rumors about a proof version of this coin being struck at the San Francisco Mint with all these errors combined. Proof coins are specially made for collectors and are struck multiple times for sharp detail, often with a mirror-like finish. Finding a 1968 proof quarter with no mint mark, on a silver planchet, and with doubling? That's the holy grail. This is where the estimated value skyrockets into the millions. The coin would be so unique and so clearly the result of a perfect storm of minting errors that collectors and investors would pay nearly any price to own it. Let's also talk about off-center strikes. A typical coin is struck dead center, with the design perfectly aligned to the planchet. But sometimes, especially during high-speed production, a planchet may not be properly aligned in the press, causing the design to be off-center. The more dramatic the misalignment, without obscuring the date, the more valuable the coin can be. A 1968 quarter struck significantly off-center, especially if combined with a missing mint mark or on a silver planchet, would be extremely collectible. Some collectors have speculated that the coin in question may have been a prototype, or a test strike, made by mint workers experimenting with old planchets or dies. Test strikes are typically never meant to leave the mint, but sometimes, a few slip through the cracks, literally and figuratively. These coins are not just errors, they are unintended relics of the production process, artifacts that tell a story of transition, oversight, and the chaotic beauty of human error in manufacturing. Now, you might be wondering, has this coin ever been found? Is there proof that a $7 million 1968 quarter actually exists? The answer is both yes and no. There have been high-value 1968 quarters that have surfaced over the years, including proof strikes with unusual characteristics, coins with significant doubling, and even a few suspected silver planchet errors. But the coin that is believed to be worth over $7 million is so rare that it may only exist in a private collection, away from public view, or it might still be out there, sitting quietly in someone's coin jar, unnoticed. This possibility is what keeps the hunt alive. It's the thrill of the unknown. The idea that something so valuable might still be lurking in plain sight. Maybe someone got it in change at a gas station decades ago and never realized what they had. Maybe it's been passed down through generations in a box of old coins. Or maybe, just maybe, it's waiting for you to find it. Of course, for a coin to reach values like $7 million, it must be authenticated, graded, and verified by top-tier coin grading services such as PCGS or NGC. These companies use precise instruments and expert numismatists to examine every millimeter of a coin for authenticity, wear, and uniqueness. A coin graded MS-68 or higher, meaning near-perfect condition, would already be exceptionally rare. Add in multiple errors and a historic backstory, and the value can spiral into the millions. Collectors have a saying, condition is king. But in the case of the 1968 quarter, it's not just the condition that matters, it's the story, the anomalies, and the mystery. A coin doesn't become worth millions by accident. It needs to be the result of an incredibly rare set of circumstances, and every piece of the puzzle must align just right. Now, let's go a little deeper into the possibilities. Imagine if the coin was struck using a die that had been modified or partially eroded, leading to weak or ghostly images. Imagine if the reading on the edge, the little grooves we often ignore, was misaligned or missing. Imagine a coin with partial brockage, where another coin got stuck in the press and created a distorted mirror image on one side. Each of these factors alone could raise the value significantly. But together? We're talking about a once-in-a-lifetime find. Beyond just collectors, investors have started to take interest in coins like this. Rare coins are tangible assets with a history of appreciating value, and in uncertain economic times, physical collectibles like this are seen as a hedge against inflation. This has further driven demand and raised prices, especially for coins with proven rarity and unique appeal. Today's episode, we're diving deep into the fascinating world of rare coins, hidden treasures, and incredible stories that lie behind some of the most unassuming items in your pocket change. You might be surprised to learn that a simple quarter, yes, a regular-looking $quarter coin from 1982, could potentially be worth a staggering $5 million. But not just any 1982 quarter. We're talking about a specific version, the 1982 P. Liberty $quarter, minted in Philadelphia, that has gained legendary status in the coin collecting world due to a number of errors, minting quirks, and mysterious anomalies that have sent collectors and enthusiasts into a frenzy. So sit back, and prepare to be amazed as we unravel the story behind one of the most intriguing modern American coins, a seemingly ordinary piece of change that might just change your life if you happen to stumble upon the right one. Let's take a journey back to 1982. The early 80s was a time of economic turmoil, rising inflation, and increasing cost-cutting measures across many sectors of the U.S. government. The U.S. Mint was no exception. In fact, 1982 was a pivotal year in the history of U.S. coinage. The Mint was making transitions in composition and processes, leading to a year full of experimentation, inconsistencies, and, crucially, minting errors that now hold great value for collectors. It's in this chaotic context that the story of the 1982 P. quarter begins. To understand why this coin is so special, let's first talk about how quarters are made and the significance of mint marks. In the United States, coins are minted in several facilities, with the most prominent ones being Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. Coins minted in Philadelphia bear the P mint mark, those from Denver have a D, and proof coins from San Francisco carry an S. In 1980, the U.S. Mint began adding the P mint mark to quarters, making the 1982 P one of the early examples bearing this new identifying feature. This matters because earlier Philadelphia coins had no mint mark at all. So, the P on the 1982 quarter is part of a short, special chapter in minting history, but that's just the beginning. What makes the 1982 P. Liberty $quarter potentially worth millions isn't just the mint mark, it's the presence of certain rare and dramatic minting errors, the scarcity of high-grade specimens, and the mystery surrounding how some of these errors even happened in the first place. Some of these mistakes are so unusual that even seasoned numismatists have scratched their heads, wondering how such anomalies could slip through the stringent quality control systems at the Mint. Yet they did, and today, these error coins are the stuff of legend. Among the most famous and valuable of these errors is the 1982 P. quarter that was struck on the wrong planchet. In some cases, these coins were minted on planchets intended for foreign currency or on blanks of other U.S. denominations. For example, a few 1982 quarters have been found struck on planchets intended for nickels, dimes, or even foreign coins, resulting in odd weights, unusual coloration, and off-diameter pieces that clearly differ from standard quarters. These errors occurred during a time when the Mint was still producing coins for several other countries under contract, which may explain how the wrong planchets ended up in the presses for U.S. coins. Another striking error associated with the 1982 P. quarter is the dramatic double die. This occurs when the coin is struck by a die that has been misaligned or struck more than once during the engraving process. The result is a doubling effect on the lettering, numbers, or images on the coin. Collectors often seek out double die varieties because of their visual impact and rarity, and the 1982 P has a particularly dramatic example of this. You might see the word Liberty appear almost ghosted or shadowed, or the date, 1982, appearing twice slightly offset. These double die errors are not only fascinating from a technical perspective, but they also significantly boost a coin's desirability and value. Then there's the matter of missing design elements. Some 1982 P. quarters have been found with weak or completely missing details, particularly in the date and mint mark areas. This can result from die wear, die polishing, or improper striking pressure. One especially coveted variety features a completely missing P. mint mark, even though it should be present on all 1982 quarters from Philadelphia. This anomaly has led some to speculate whether a die from the pre-1980 era was mistakenly used or whether the die was excessively polished, removing the mint mark entirely. Regardless of the cause, such coins are extremely rare and have fetched huge sums at auctions. Surface anomalies also contribute to the mystique of the 1982 p-quarter. Some coins from that year exhibit significant laminations, cracks, or planchet flaws that would not ordinarily pass quality inspection. These imperfections may have gone unnoticed due to high production volume and cost-cutting measures at the mint. In other cases, coins show signs of clashed dies, when the obverse and reverse dies strike each other without a planchet between them, leaving ghost-like impressions of each side on the other. Coins with visible die clash marks are another prized find among collectors, but one of the greatest mysteries and perhaps the most intriguing aspect of the 1982 p-quarter is the so-called full-strike Liberty head. This refers to specimens where every single detail on the coin, especially the word Liberty and Washington's hair and features, is sharply defined and deeply struck, unlike the majority of 1982 quarters that show weak strikes and lack of detail. Because the mint was cutting corners during this time, most of the coins that left the facility were poorly struck and roughly handled. High-quality strikes from this year are exceedingly rare, and when combined with other errors, they command astronomical prices at auction. This perfect storm of rarity and condition is part of what has propelled some examples to valuations in the millions. Let's take a moment to consider how coin grading plays into all of this. Coin collectors and investors rely on professional grading services to assess the condition of a coin. The grading scale goes from 1 to 70, with 70 representing a perfect, flawless coin. Most 1982 p-quarters that you'll find in circulation or even in older collections might grade somewhere between 10 and 40. However, coins graded above 65, especially with visible errors or anomalies, are vanishingly rare. A single 1982 p-quarter graded MS-67 with an error like a double die or wrong planchet has the potential to fetch hundreds of thousands, or even millions, due to its rarity, historical significance, and condition. And that's where the $5 million figure comes into play. It represents the upper-end valuation of a perfect storm specimen, a high-grade, pristine, full-strike 1982 p-quarter with one or more major errors and impeccable provenance. Some collectors and experts believe that such a coin may already be out there, possibly still unrecognized, sitting in someone's drawer, a coin jar, or even resting unnoticed in a pocket. It's this kind of numismatic treasure hunt that keeps the hobby exciting and accessible. Anyone, anywhere, could find one. Unlike some rare coins that are locked away in museum vaults or elite private collections, the 1982 p-quarter remains a wild card, something you might actually stumble upon if you know what to look for. And now let's touch on the deeper mystery and speculation that surrounds these era coins. Some theories suggest that the most valuable 1982 p-quarters may have been struck deliberately by mint employees experimenting or even creating error coins as collectibles. While unproven, these rumors persist because of how isolated and unusual some of these errors are. It raises the question, could some of these coins have been clandestinely produced under the radar and slipped into circulation? If true, this would only increase their mystique and value. After all, rarity is amplified not just by numbers but by the mystery of origin. Over the past decade, public interest in rare coins has surged, thanks in part to online marketplaces, viral videos, and sensational auction headlines. Stories about common-looking coins selling for thousands or millions continue to spark curiosity and excitement, and the 1982 p-quarter is at the center of many of these tales. What sets it apart is that it doesn't look ancient, foreign, or historically exotic. It looks like something you might have just used to feed a parking meter or buy a soda. That accessibility, that ordinariness hiding the extraordinary, is what captures imaginations and drives collectors to keep searching. Collectors and dealers alike continue to scan their change and revisit old coin rolls in hopes of finding the elusive $1 million 1982 p Liberty quarter. Some enthusiasts attend coin shows armed with magnifying glasses, detailed error charts, and knowledge gleaned from forums, YouTube channels, and online communities. As more coins are discovered and cataloged, patterns begin to emerge, and with those patterns come new theories, revised valuations, and the occasional jaw-dropping auction result that reinvigorates the hunt.